when I have conversations around cheating, I really like to steer clear of the blame game, because the truth is, like, we all play a part. Society included.
Please don't play with me. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna be reacting to a Jubilee video about cheating and, you know, two sides, so let's see.
That the person that you cheated on needs to know. So if you're gonna say, like, I'm not gonna tell them because of psychological damage, it's honestly, you're not even taking accountability for what you did.
Hold on.
You chose the cheat.
Disclosing that you cheated to the person that you cheated on is not accountability. That is just revealing.
That is taking accountability. I would consider that as a form of taking accountability. You're so open.
That's still
Being
very
open
new.
about this. That
Maybe
is
it's
a
the first
form of
step
taking
towards accountability.
I agree with you.
Maybe it's
It
the
is.
first
It's a
step.
step.
Hi, I'm Gen.
That's a lie. That's a bald-faced lie. Admitting to the person that you cheated on that you cheated is taking accountability, obviously.
For social and controversial issues to both sides. Today I'll be moderating this middle ground episode of cheaters versus cheated on. The first prompt is I would forgive my partner if they cheated on. Greers?
Never that. No, I'm kidding. Technically, yes, I would forgive them, but our relationship is obviously over, terminated. So yeah, I would you have to work on forgiveness for yourself. So like, you know, I would do what I can, but the second I found out we're done and like we're never gonna speak again, but when I reclude and, you know, go back into myself, I'll forgive them.
Step forward.
I feel like from the side of being cheated on, I think the biggest thing to understand is that forgiveness is something that everybody does deserve. I think that once we get into the discussion of why somebody cheated, we can really understand whether or not that person is sympathetic and whether or not that person is somebody that you want to keep around in your life. But I think forgiveness and keeping them in that same relationship are not synonymous. They go separately.
I completely agree. However, I do think that forgiveness is something that we give to ourselves, not necessarily somebody else. So in the event that my husband cheats on me, I would be giving him forgiveness so that I could set myself free from any hostility or anger that I may hold on to in the event.
You know, you can have short-term forgiveness and long-term forgiveness. And, you know, it's like, are you addressing the root of the issue?
One thing that is interesting though, that there are 3 people from the cheater side who have sat down, but only one on the cheated on.
That is interesting.
I guess I'd be curious to hear more so about your guys' experiences, because it seems like in this instance you were cheated on.
Yes.
So I cheated on him.
Yes.
And
Stop. That is so messy. That's insane.
and he forgave me. But I guess I'll let you explain that.
Forgiveness is a step-by-step process. It's not anything that does happen instant. And for us, that was something that we did step by step. And as you said, getting down to the root of it was a big thing, to where all questions have been answered. All things that were left up to an idle mind are no longer there. And so by getting down to the root of it, I can also figure out, okay, were there some areas that as a husband, I did not uphold what I needed to be? It might have been that you might have felt emotionally you couldn't feel like you can come to me.
So do you feel like you have equal?
Yeah, that is very mature. Like, I know I'm laughing, but seriously, that's very mature. I feel like you have to be very mature to forgive a cheater or someone that cheat on you. I guess maybe they're not habitual, but also I think that goes to show, like, if you do forgive the person and choose to stay, you have to move on from it. You can't keep holding it over their head. You really have to like mature and address the issue, and I'm not mature, so.
Blame in the cheating that occurred?
Can I interrupt? I think that bringing the conversation to the concept of blame, I think you actually kind of have to understand the purpose of blame. And I think that the purpose of blame is to shift responsibility. When I have conversations around cheating, I really like to steer clear of the blame game, because the truth is, like, we all play a part. Society included.
Please don't play with me. Obviously, yes, take responsibility, but like initially, obviously I'm gonna feel something. I'm gonna wanna blame the cheater, and then we can go for responsibility from there. But initially, yes, I blame the cheater.
any of the disagreeers please step forward? Just to go back on the imbalance that we saw there, I'd be curious to hear from the cheated on group first.
There's a few things I heard that I found interesting. One, you said about not using the blame game, and then also when you said about you felt like you may have had something to do with, not being a husband or whatever it may be. And those are things I kind of disagree with. Like, I know most of us walk with good intentions in life, right? We're trying to be a good person, yes? Or maybe not. But at the most part, you start off that way, right? But I guess the way I live my life, I don't give anybody any excuse to do something wrong to me. So if you do something wrong to me, you have to kind of go out of your way to do that. And this idea that you start saying, well, it must have been something I did. It actually might not have been. It might have been just the other person wasn't where you were at as a human being. And also the other thing I heard was about, forgiving for yourself. I've never understood that statement. They did something wrong, I'm just going to move on. I'm not going to hold any ill will to you. It just happened.
Can I respond to that?
I think like two things can be true at the same time. Like, I've never been cheated on or cheated, so I don't really, obviously I'm just speaking, out of turn here. But the responsibility for cheating is always on the cheater, but like you can still address that there was like shortcomings in the relationship. So like maybe if you weren't really present and the person cheated, like that's not saying, oh, I should have been here so you wouldn't have cheated. No, you're a cheater, baby. But you can still address a problem within the relationship whilst that person still being completely 110% wrong. And also the whole forgiveness thing, like I think he sees forgiveness as we have to get back together, but no.
So I actually agree with the two things you said about the forgiveness. I have never understood that either. I just feel like for me, if it works for other people, that's great. I actually have found healing in not forgiving people. And I think there's a difference. I think I choose not to forgive them and then eventually I am indifferent towards them is what I'm saying. I think there's a difference between not forgiving someone and hating someone.
And I think most of that comes from, that narrative comes from usually the person who cheated, saying, you forgive for yourself, or like, you never hear it coming from the actual person who got cheated on.
Down to honesty. I mean, any of us that were cheated on, I don't think it's any of our responsibility that our partner chose to be dishonest with us about anything. Because even if you assume that, it was something you did, maybe you weren't being open enough, or maybe the conversation wasn't happening that needed to happen, it's still not your responsibility fully, I don't think. You can't force anyone to be faithful, or to be honest, or to be true.
For my specific experience, it was more of a physical thing. I was a virgin, and I wasn't ready to do that yet. And the guy I was with was a couple years older than me, and he went out and did that. And I could never forgive him because the physical thing was something that we could never fix. I wasn't gonna have sex with him, So forgiveness for me was very hard because there was nothing to work on for me. So there was nothing to improve that relationship, so it was over.
I'm just curious, if he had, I have no idea what your relationship was like.
Go for it.
If he had come to you and said, I love you, I care about you, this is something that I really need, how would you feel about allowing him to go out and do that, or would you we should just break up then?
Totally. I mean, I think that I was getting to the point of potentially being ready. But after he did that with someone else, then I was like, okay, no. And I literally did not speak to a man for 3-4 years. It was a very emotionally traumatizing for me. I was only 16.
The whole one partner being a virgin and the other one being sexually active or wanting to be active, I don't like how the responsibility is always being put on the person who is less active or doesn't want to be sexually active to so would you let your partner say about it, blah, blah, blah. But the partner is also a grown human adult that's fully aware that that person didn't want to be sexually active. So it's also your business to control yourself. I feel like it's always pushed that the person who is doing less or is deciding not to is the one that's really in control and holding the keys and blah blah blah. But you're not forced into a relationship. Especially if the person starts off honest with you, then you should figure out whether you have enough self-control to deal with that or no. Yeah, I think I'm gonna jump around because it is an hour long and I don't really want to do that. So I think I'm gonna just jump around to what looks interesting. It's okay to express attention to others while in a relationship. Let's go there.
In a relationship.
As the only person from the cheated on section, I think that it is okay because personally for me, again, like talking about how I think that relationships are built on honesty and communication, I would rather know that you have attraction to someone than you just keep that on the back burner and not tell me. Like, let me know. Like, let me know.
If you're attracted to someone, keep it to yourself. I feel like there are like healthy, not really just lies, but I feel like there should be boundaries in a relationship. Like if we're walking on the street, every attractive guy I see, I'm not gonna be like, oh, he's so fine. Like that's rude, that's disrespectful. It's just, you know, I know we're both human, you know, we're attracted to people, but self-control. Don't play with me, because that's gonna irritate me, so.
I also think that if we have an innate response to something that we see, and we actually don't give the voice to it, we're ultimately putting ourselves in a place of denial. And denial is not just a river in Egypt. And what it ends up doing is you start suppressing yourself and making yourself smaller for the comfort of having your relationship, which then means your relationship becomes the goal rather than you being an individual who can be seen, valued, and understood inside of the relationship.
Cap, you should be able to see an attractive person and continue on with your day. If your identity is in you finding somebody attractive, that makes no sense, and you don't need to have any dealings with me, because like, what are we actually talking about?
You know, me and my partner have shared these things, but like I also have struggled with my own insecurities, and so he always makes sure to add in like, but like you know. So I think it depends on who it is, but I think I agree that yes, it is obviously healthier to give voice, because then of course, like if I don't know, let's say my partner finds someone attractive and I catch him looking, and then I'm like, why are you know what I mean? And so then I might get suspicious. Is like, why have you not said anything to me?
But wouldn't you say that your insecurities are for you to manage, not your partner?
Oh yeah. No, I mean that's
so
fine.
him or her changing their behavior because of your insecurities would lead them to a place of inauthenticity.
Oh, I want to make it very clear.
Okay, so like, is respect not a thing? Everybody changes their behaviors when they get into a relationship. There's even something called monogamy, and that's a change of behavior as well, because before you were dating around, but then you pick one and then you stop being authentic and you focus on, like, we just need to, do not play with me. I don't like people who like try to like throw words at me and authentic and blah, 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 and your responsibility. Don't play with me. Respect is an action. So if my version of respect is you not checking out girls while you're literally right next to me, like, then you need to respect me and be yourself. Don't play like, and that's you being you. But yeah, I just like, this just feels like BS. You do not have to tell someone when you find somebody attractive. Like, you see an attractive person, clock that, go on with your day. I don't like, even if I was with somebody that is such a big deal when they see an attractive person, I'm really gonna be like, what's going on? Like, why is it that serious?
I didn't ask him to do that.
Oh, okay,
That just comes from him. And maybe it comes from him because he knows I've struggled with insecurities, but I haven't said to him, and you need to do this. That's not, it's just him expressing himself.
You know, for me, it's like when I start a relationship, I want communication, you know, and it's very important that we're able to talk with each other about everything, because we're two human beings who have feelings, and unless you act on those feelings, you know, and sometimes I think talking about it can keep you from acting on it as well.
I personally don't believe that there should be any attraction to anyone, while especially for marriage. Speaking on marriage, we believe in monogamy. We believe in one, you know, man and wife, and I do believe that we should not have any type of attraction to anyone. It leads to problems, and it absolutely can lead to, you know, even cheating. Yeah, if you are feeling that way in your relationship, then obviously that does need to be expressed, but that tells a lot about, you know, hey, there's something deeper going on in your relationship that needs to be fixed. So you're
yeah, I don't know, like we all have eyes. Like, just because you found your husband, attractive people don't just turn ugly. So
like, you walk down the street, you've never seen you know, an attractive man and been like, oh, like that man's hot. Never.
I don't look at other men and think that, you know, I can't do that. To, especially being a Christian, I can't look at other men and say like, oh, that man is, you know, if I can't be sexually,
Sorry, is
I'm
it
not
because
sexually
you're a
attracted.
Christian, or is it because you're you?
Now it's because I am a believer.
But like your eyes still work. I'm a Christian too. Like you're supposed to have self-control, but your eyes still work. Like I feel like actually I'm low-key a little confused, but like I feel like if you're like purposefully going out like looking for it, like scanning every single woman in the room, whoa, you know, you're dragging it. But like if somebody is like, I don't know, like it's just walking towards you and they're aggressively attractive and you see that, like I don't think you have to rip your eyes out. Just like move on with your day. But okay.
Yeah, you know,
Or, like with my current boyfriend, I am honest. We honestly make jokes about it sometimes. Like I was like, "Oh, are you into her? Are you into her?" And he's like, "No," you know. But like obviously,
Good answer.
no, I know that he like might think that she's pretty, but that's attraction. That's a physical attraction. There's so much more to a relationship that you can bank on. It's like an emotional thing, or like, are you there for me when I call you?
If you cheat on someone, you are not in love with them.
But yeah, I 1000% believe that if you cheat on someone, you are not in love with them. I think when you love someone, you not only do you care for them, you go out of your way to make them comfortable, safe, like kind of try to help them out, etc. So if you could go out of your way to do the opposite, I don't believe you love the person. I think you might think you do, but I don't think you do.
Stuttered because I was trying to think. In their own right, they might think they're in love, but as a flat statement, I don't think they are. If you really are truly in love, it's all you think about is that other person, right? Or you want to be with them, you want to try and do right with them, even though there may be certain things you do up and down that may not displease them, but you're learning together. But going out and being unfaithful to them and then turn around saying you still love them, it just doesn't sit right with me, or it doesn't logically make sense to me in that aspect. Thoughts?
Okay. When I think of the word love now, I actually replace it with the word want. I think that the statement that was made about not being in love with somebody, right? That doesn't necessarily mean that I don't have capacity or capability to love him. I certainly was loving him in other ways.
Think about what love means to you. When you cheated, did you meet that standard of what love meant?
I think what's tricky about it, right, was since I had, I'll say, these idols of marriage, family, you know, all of that, I was more in love with the idea of what those things were than the person that I put into the role.
But yeah, I think we're kind of dancing around the point, but I think we all kind of get the point. But to me, like, I think love is devotion. And when you are devoted to somebody, like, it is very much a verb and it is very much shown in your actions. So you can't claim that you are devoted to somebody, but you're going to go, I don't know, entice and pleasure with someone else that you know is going to completely shatter their heart and then lie to them. And then, but like, you just can't really say that you're devoted to somebody and say that, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, so I agree. I don't think that you can be in love and cheat on somebody.
I want to respond to something you said that I okay, right in there. You said that when you're in love with somebody, they're all you think about, that you just want to be with that person all the time. And I vehemently disagree with that. I think, and for me, obviously I disagree with this, I can say that I really truly did love the people, or I should say most of the people that I cheated on in those relationships. I based my value and I based my identity on those relationships. That person was all I thought about. And it almost was like I trapped myself. It was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, and then I sought outside of that relationship. I think that they say like someone shouldn't be your universe. They should be a planet in your universe. So it's like I have friends. Sometimes I'm just like, bye, you know, and I go hang out with my friends. You know, my family is very important to me. He is not my world, and this is the healthiest relationship. That's my universe.
Now I was saying that more metaphorically, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But even in that, you were infatuated and everything was him, and you were giving all. Then the question is, were you in love with him?
That's a good point.
I'm just asking that.
Yeah, like if you're just obsessed with somebody and like really, really desperate to please them, that doesn't mean that you're in love. Like, I don't think that means that you're in love. But
just based on what you're saying,
like in my first serious relationship, for sure, I was in love with him, and he was my first real love, and I was in love with him, and I still made the choice to cheat. it was a choice I made, it was a selfish choice, I felt extremely guilty afterwards. So I think it depends, but I think you absolutely can be in love with somebody and still make bad choices based on selfishness, anger, insecurity, whatever it may be. I believe
Cute, but I think that even if the relationship, allegedly they were in love the whole time, like when you went out to cheat, you were not in love with me when you were doing that. When you were planning to see somebody, when you were texting somebody, when you were with somebody one-on-one, you cannot say that while you were looking into the eyes of somebody that was not me. You were sitting there thinking, oh, I'm so in love with my partner and this is why I'm cheating. So even if maybe in the relationship that you're cheating and you think you're in love, while you are doing the act, you are not in love. So I don't.
believe that we can grow in love. I believe that there is portions of our love that's lacking.
Like, she's probably gonna say stuff that makes sense, but I just feel like she has no other choice but
And then we can actually, like, you know, grow in that. So I don't believe that just because you cheated on someone doesn't mean that you don't love them. I believe that, you know, that there can be love there, but there's something there that just is causing that portion of it to just be almost like in depletion. Like, I couldn't love him fully the way that he needed to, because there was something there that was lacking.
So like, I think we're doing the dictionary politics thing again. Like, if you're saying you didn't fully love him, then no, you were not in love with him. Like, it's like if somebody teaches me algebra, but it's always been labeled as calculus, it's still algebra. I can't be like, no, I was learning calculus. No, they were teaching me algebra. Like, I do not believe that you genuinely love somebody and your actions do not reciprocate that. So that's just me.
Not a choice. You meet someone, it happens for whatever reason, you're compatible. Staying in love is a choice. You are choosing, and perhaps in that moment, you are not choosing to love that person. You're choosing not to love that person, and then maybe you can choose to love them again. I'm not saying falling out of love, but to continue loving somebody is an action.
I do think that falling in love is a choice.
Oh, okay.
And the reason that I think falling in love is a choice is because you allowed it, right? Like, when I think about these,
I don't know, like, just the way she says certain stuff is so funny. Like, you allowed it. I'm like, I don't, like, she just makes me laugh sometimes.
experience that I had full autonomy.
You know, it's interesting, the prompt is in love. And some people didn't use that when they were talking. They're saying love, not in love. And to me, in love and love are two different things.
Yeah.
I fall in love as a human being with other humans, men, women, whatever. I fall in love very easily. I believe in love. Love is the driving force of my life. So I was in love with every woman that I cheated on. I was in love with them. If I loved them truly, that would have been a different story, maybe.
Actually, in my mind, view it like the opposite. Like, I love so many.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
I love my friends. I love my family. I love people that I'm like, oh, we've just met and I love you. Like, in love, when you fall in love, you're in love with somebody. It stirs something up. It's different.
I think we get to semantics.
It's totally semantic. I just thought it was interesting.
It's not always the cheater's fault when they cheat.
I genuinely don't know what the argument against this is gonna be. Like, unless somebody literally put a gun to your head and was like, hey, cheat on your partner right now or you're dead, then it's not your fault. Everything else, it's your fault.
I can think of one instance where I would say it's not the cheater's fault. If someone is in an abusive situation and maybe they don't feel safe to leave the relationship, I could understand why, and maybe even like they've fallen for someone else, they use that as an excuse to get out of the relationship. I would still say it stems from within, for sure, but that would be the one instance in which I would say.
I think then it's like a really, really good excuse, but like it's still an action that you took. So like you can't really like, yeah, like it justifies it, but yes, it's still your action, so it's your fault.
I could totally understand like where the cheating came from, that you're not safe.
I think that I have read too many accounts of women and men being taken advantage of and being put into a situation where there really is no choice. So a lot of the women that I counsel are in domestic violence households, and a lot of them have been threatened with murder if they chose to leave the relationship. And so what ends up happening is all of a sudden you're at work and you are having a conversation with a male colleague who exhibits genuine care for you and your situation. It's almost impossible to stop the inertia of love from being able to take that person out of the situation.
If I have to play devil's advocate, do you think replacing something that can be considered negative with another negative makes it right?
I think that truth and reality really don't give a about right or wrong. So it's kind of like, why would I be so obsessed with labeling somebody else's decision that ultimately resulted in their safety?
Yeah, might make them safer.
Okay, I believe wrong is wrong. I do. I believe that two wrongs don't make a right. There's no way. Like, that's just my personal belief. I don't think that,
But what if that person is not safe to leave?
then, okay, so, but they're okay to cheat.
It's not a question of okay.
I think that it's without partiality. Like, I can't sit here and say that somebody is right for cheating
We
based
didn't
off
say
of,
right. We just said
or they're okay to be able to cheat based off of the fact that they're in an abusive relationship. If you are in an abusive relationship, get the heck out.
But what if you can't? It's not always that
Then
simple.
how is it that no one is able to tell me?
You gotta talk to some girls.
Hey,
My question will be,
calm down.
so
I just want to know. I'm asking the question.
She was completely calm, so I don't really know what's going on here. I don't. Let me fix my face. I really don't like when people speak on situations that they've never been in, like really, really intense situations, and they're like, "This is what you need to do. Just do that." Like, it's not that simple, and if you've never been in it, it's really unfair and very disrespectful for you to just speak about it so callously. That's what I think. But like with the whole cheating because of abuse thing, I'm not judge, jury, and executioner. So really, I'm sorry, like, in general, I don't care if you cheat. It's just me. Like, if you do it to me, don't flirt with me. But yeah, if someone's cheating because of an abusive relationship, I just really, like, I just wouldn't care. And I don't know, like, I just wouldn't be the one to be like, you're wrong for cheating, girl. Like, let's address something before we can address something else. Like,
Because you're saying that someone can sit there and cheat on someone based off of the fact that they're in an abusive relationship. Where does that come, like, how does that make that okay or make it right? Where does that come
It's not a black and white thing, and I think we keep coming to that. I don't think anybody's saying, like, it's okay. I think we're just saying it's not okay, and it's in the middle.
But I believe in yes or no and okay or not
Right,
okay,
and
right or wrong.
I think some of us are thinking black and white, and some of us just aren't those kinds of people, and I think that's okay.
I'm not open about that.
But I'm not saying
okay, but it's a discussion of multiple people. So people are stating their opinion. You can be closed, be in your corner, but people are going to state their opinion. That's how talks work.
that being unsafe in an abusive relationship makes it okay to cheat. What I'm saying is that someone might use forming a relationship with another person as a safety net, because now you have somebody else to go to. Because I think a lot of people don't realize, but the abuse actually kicks up after you leave the relationship. It gets worse because the person who's abusing you will stalk you, will chase you, will blow up your phone, will show up at your house. It is very dangerous for people, I'm not going to gender it, for people who are leaving abusive situations. It gets more dangerous. And so cheating, forming another relationship with somebody, may actually help that person find safety.
I know we brought up specifics and everything, but I think if we're just looking at the specific prompt in itself, I think that there's always a choice. There's always a choice. I understand, maybe if someone's under the influence and, I can see how that could be literally blurred. But I think in general, if someone's sober,
cheating
is a choice.
No, I agree.
And I think that's where we can put the fault on that person, because they made that conscious decision.
But what is
And-
the purpose of assigning fault?
Well, I mean, I'm not.
Because it was the question on the prompt, girl. It was the question on the prompt. That's the purpose. Like, the prompt is literally, it's not always the cheater's fault when they cheat. So like, just to answer the prompt, it is always the cheater's fault. Okay. But yeah, good episode. Everybody was super respectful. I always really, you know, like, shout out to the people who do these, because I just feel like if it was me and it was anything like a little bit personal, I'd be like, no. But maybe I would have the patience to listen and rebuttal. So who knows? But yeah, interesting episode.